Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Friday morning's devotion. We're going to conclude today by looking at the name of God, El Roi. This is the name that Hagar gave to God in the depth of her mess of her life, the misery of the consequences of the mess, and now she's in a state of absolute desperation. I want to talk about another M that God is famous for. As much as we're kind of famous for making the mess and getting ourselves into a place of misery, God is a specialist in working miracles. We see this so beautifully in the life of Hagar. The angel of the Lord came to Hagar, you read it, and he asked her two questions. He said, "What are you doing here, and where are you going?" And Hagar had no reply for this. And so God kind of answered for her and said, what you need to do is you need to return and you need to submit to your boss, Sarah. And she did that. But the intriguing thing in the story is that submission is a theme that runs through Scripture from beginning to end. If you want the blessing of God, it comes out of an attitude of submission. Now, those are two awesomely good questions. Where have you come from, and where are you going? Let's apply those into our context today. You know, sadly, in my experience, as I've walked the Christian journey, I've met many people who've got themselves into a position of what they call backsliding. They've backslidden. They were once walking closely with God, but because of something that came into their life, maybe they made a mistake, maybe they sinned, maybe they made a wrong judgment, maybe arrogance or pride crept in, and they, as a result, find themselves sitting at the well with Hagar, saying, my life is a mess, my situation is a misery, where do I go from now? Well, let me remind you of the name of God. El Roi says he's the God who sees. Now let me tell you, people, there is nothing that God has not seen before. So you need not be too embarrassed when you talk to him about maybe the mess and the misery, because he's seen it all before. And he would be so open to hear from you. Why don't you today? Maybe today this is a day that might be something for somebody who feels maybe I have backslidden from God. Maybe I have done a little bit of what Hagar's done. I've run my own way, and I find myself now in a place of barrenness, a place of a mess, relationally, spiritually, maybe even physically, and I am in desperate need of a miracle. Well, let me encourage you, people. Our God is a God of miracles. And he did this with Hagar. He said, Hagar, I know your life's a mess. I know you made a huge mistake, and now you're in a place of misery. But you know what I'm going to do? Because I'm God and I'm good and I'm gracious and I'm kind, I'm going to take your greatest mistake and turn it into a great blessing. And out of you and this child that you have born here, I'm going to make a huge and a great nation. Hagar must have thought, wow, can it really be true that he would do that? Surely he should reject me. Surely he should kick me away. Surely he should push me away and say, you've made such a mess. You're such a misery. I want nothing more to do with you. People, God will never do that. When we submit to him, as the angel of the Lord said to Hagar, submit to your mistress, submit to Sarah, go back, return to her. People, if we'll just do that, we'll find that God is receiving us back. And the crazy thing is, he's able to make a miracle out of your mess if you will just return and submit, just like Hagar was told to do. So maybe today, those are two first reflections, maybe you need to do that. If you don't, then this is not for you. Keep going and God bless you. But maybe today you look at your life and you say, on this Friday morning, I'm kind of in a bad way. I've walked away from God. I have rejected his ways. I've done my own thing. Maybe today you need to return and you need to submit to the way of God and find that God is awesomely great, awesomely kind, and God is awesomely good. So I've asked Lizanne to sing a song that I heard her sing in church the other day, and it's all about the goodness of God. So as she sings today, won't you just think about what we've spoken about? Won't you just reflect on the story of Hagar, and for goodness sake, understand that God is El Roi, the God who sees, and he sees with deep compassion and great goodness. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. For all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like